Beautiful, right? Right on. I didn't ask if what you guys wanted me to talk about today as a topic. So if it's not too late, let me ask you this instead of a topic. Would you kind of like today? Are you in the mood to go like really cosmic and out there and deep, or would you like it like more grounded and? Those of you who are online, if you can't hear, they're like, "We're from Sedona, man. We want cosmic or nothing." Grounded cosmic. Grounded cosmic. Okay. Grounded cosmic. I get, visuals, So grounded cosmic, it's like an old barn with a lightning rod. Woo. Okay, so grounded cosmic. Okay. Okay. So today, it's very important that we understand, even though we talk about being made in God's image, even though we know we're made in God's image, but what is that? It's this glorious, it's God. It's this glorious self. So in one respect, we know that we're made in that image. We affirm it, we pray it, we give thanks for it, and so on. Many groups, including our own. But at the same time, there's clearly something that's not quite right. And it is that people live in a state of amnesia. That doesn't mean we're not holy. It just means we have amnesia. Now, if you met somebody on the street and you said, "Hey, how are you? What's your name?" And they were like, "I don't know. I have amnesia." Well, you wouldn't be rude to them. Darn person. Amnesia. How dare you? And yet, that's the way we treat people that are rude in the world. Forgive them, they know not what they do, meant forgive them, they have amnesia. And that's true. The only reason people act ridiculous is because they've forgotten who they are. And to put it another way, they're in pain. And when people are in pain, they're not usually, all pleasant. Right? "Hi, what's your name?" "Oh, I'm in a lot. I just broke my femur. And I just wanted to say, you really look nice today." That's not how this goes. It's jerk. I don't like you. You have the wrong religion, the wrong this. They're just all in pain. If we could see it that way, it would adjust how we respond to people. But we don't see it that way. We don't take it that way. We don't react that way or share that way because we're in pain. So when you get caught off guard, it shows also your level, your pain level. So it's within reason to see that and to own that. And there's a little bit more to this. This is going to get, I can see, out there, but just, hang in there. There are these things called seals, like stamps. The way you take a letter and you have a wax seal in the old days, boom. There are these seals that we all have within us. And I don't know that I've ever heard of anybody talk about this. And that's because nobody knows they're there. They don't know what they look like, how to find them. But they're in your etheric body, astral body and so forth too. But we all have these stamps and these seals. There are mainly two kinds. Ego seals, of course, but God seals. You have not just 7 chakras and then some minor chakras. You have seals over those chakras. It doesn't mean you don't have access at all to the chakras because they interact with the world every day. But there are seals that keep the deepest part of your chakras or your spiritual centers inaccessible. So here's kind of how this goes. When we were created, there's no need for seals because we are one with God. But when we said to ourselves, wondering what it's like to separate from God, something really unique happened because we started going into a sleep state. Forgetting, like in other words, sort of retiring away our divine consciousness, we started going into a sleep. And God's like, "Hello, where are you going?" And we start drifting off, as they say. The lights are on, but nobody's home. So we actually, not at the beginning of our creation, but sometime during our experience in oneness with God, at some point we started asking ourselves, I wonder what life is like if we could be outside of God. When that starts happening, we started drifting. Now, here's what God did. God actually, now the ego is being created to help manifest this separation. So we're like, well, I don't want it to be my fault. I'm going to create something I can blame for separating from God. We created the ego in that moment. Now, so here's what happens in that moment. God, in its brilliance, goes, well, you're going to now think that you've lost your identity. I'm going to seal it inside of your core of your being so you can never completely lose it. But I'm going to pretend that you did lose sight of who you are. So God seals the knowingness of who we are deep in our being. And yet we continue drifting, and the ego then puts in a seal so you'll never remember again. Yeah. So there are these cosmic seals. Now, we have for sure 7 major seals, one on each of our major chakras. We have other seals as well. But the primary ones really, and the ones, they're actually mentioned in the Bible. Seals are mentioned over a dozen times in the Bible, I'm sure. Old and New Testament. When the New Testament's addressing seals, it's talking about sort of like what Christ does for you. That there's a seal that the Christ will open. But what's nice, especially in the Old Testament and in the Torah, mention of these seals because God has already sealed you. Your real identity. This isn't as cosmic as it may sound. This is as practical could be. It's just not change your car tire type of practical. What could be more practical than, oh, thank God that it's impossible for me to completely forget who I am. So God sealed up your knowingness, and it's now hidden from us because the ego brought in a seal as well to keep you from remembering. Then the ego brings in, we'll call it minor seals. The major one is amnesia. You will not ever remember. And it's like these, the caps to a Coke bottle or whatever, a seal. The ego wants those stuck in place. The Spirit of God wants them opened. But healers aren't going to be able to find them for you because they don't even know they're there. But they're not skilled enough to find them. And I know that if I wrote a book and it featured this thing about seals and it became like, ooh, cosmic and best-selling, about seals and opening it, you're going to have people coming to me going, can you train us on how to open them? Then you're going to have level 1 seal openers and level 2 seal openers. And then they're going to open up a center in Sedona. Seal opening here now. Walk-ins welcome. So you see the various meanings of that, right? I always think that's kind of funny. So, and then you're going to have seal openers. That is not how they're opened. There's only, because in the book of Revelation, I saw a book. And on the book, which is you, there are 7 seals. And a voice said, who is worthy to open the seals? And another voice says, only the Lamb, the Christ. Only the Spirit, the Divine Mother, the Holy Spirit. Only God, essentially, can open those seals. That's good news, by the way. Because if you had some aura balancing Reiki master in Sedona or somewhere else that could accidentally or purposefully open them, trust me, it's not good. Because over your seals of who you are, put ego seals of who you're not. That's why the book of Revelation says, and then a seal was open. And it doesn't go, and you could just hear angels. Oh, wow, my seals are open. I just need some chakra balancing. What it says is a seal was open, and then horrendous things came to the earth. And then another seal was open, and earthquakes and famine. And another seal was open, and creatures from the bottomless pit. Wow. Now, do you want to go and sit on a table somewhere in Sedona going, these creatures coming out of your chakras, right? I mean, these things, and you're fighting them off. And some sci-fi movie. You don't want that. You don't want that. Especially since if it could happen, and it can happen in minor levels, but if it could happen on a major level, your healers would not know what to do with it. Because these things, these seals that the ego put in place, it gathered throughout your life all of your guilts, all of your shames, every memory of everything you've ever thought, said, and done, particularly of a negative nature, and it packs them in these seals. So you have a major seal to forget who you really are. Amnesia. Minor seals to enforce that. So the minor seals are almost like false memories of yourself. Okay? A little bit of shame, a little bit of past life. Oh, I remember I was tormented as a woman living in middle dark ages and burned at the stake. All these things. The ego takes all those and stuffs them in these seals and packs them in. And the ego will try not to even open them because it has enough to work on you to keep you miserable as you are. But if you ever get on the spiritual path, it's going to be like, really? Are you sure about this? Oh, money, padme hum. Are you sure about this? You know, oneness with God, love. Oh, some forgiveness exercises. Ba-ding, you know, and those things come popping out. That's what it does. So there are seals. We have seals in our being. We'll just keep it simple, in our etheric body. There are these seals within us. And yes, the chakras, but they could be placed anywhere, really. The seals, primarily, God seals, I call them, ego seals. But you could have major God seals or minor. Major ego seals or minor. The major God seal is your identity. There's a thing called the Bible code, all right? The Bible code means that someone came up with this ingenious idea, which Sir Isaac Newton, a Rosicrucian, by the way, originally had this vision, and he had this idea. He said, I have a feeling that in the Torah, and the New Testament too, but in the Torah, I have a feeling that there is a code that you can crack, like crossword puzzles. And they eventually cracked the seal. But they didn't crack this, they didn't crack the code until the development of computers. Because then, instead of using your head, you can tell a computer, look for words in various languages for that matter. Look for words that are hidden in the Torah, written in Hebrew, you know. Look for the words backwards, forwards, up, down, left, right. Look for words like revelation, or look for words like 2012, you know, anything. And then it'll pop up, and crossing the word will be other relevant terms. So they looked up Bible code. The words Bible. Is there a code in the Bible? Crossing the words Bible code was the word computer. Yeah. And then crossing the word computer and Bible code were these words, sealed up until the end days. Yeah, sealed up until the end. Sealed. Damn right. I understand it now, we can say. Now I get it. Wow. Sealed until the end. So here's what's interesting. You also have minor God seals. And it'll sound like, well, is that a positive seal? It is, because one of the things God did for us as we're leaving and coming to this place is not only God saying, you know, I get that you want to pretend that you don't know who you are. So I'll honor that, but I'm going to store in you who you are. So it's there. And when we say, oh, you know, I did a workshop and I discovered who I am. No. You opened a minor seal of who you are. The ultimate who you are not ready for. You are sealed up until the end days. So there are seals, minor seals that are keeping memory of Lemuria, previous lifetimes, all kinds of other subtle stories. Lemuria, like, you know, or previous lifetimes and certain amazing, when you were God and Goddess. There's memories of you being cosmically a God and Goddess, all packed away. We empowered the ego to do what it will, and it hides all positives and empowerment statements about yourself. All fantastical things about us are packed away because the ego wants no good memory of you. Subtle things to keep you going a little while longer, but none of the great, wonderful things about who we are. Then it replaced, but not replaced like one out, one in. It replaced or placed over its own interpretations. So now if you want your centers open, in the book of Revelation, you're being told, when a seal's going to be open, first comes out what you're not. So I have a seal concealing, that's that word, who I am, but over it are sealed containers of who I'm not. That's what in Greek mythology Pandora's box is about. Okay? Whatever you do, don't open that box. Woohoo! And apparently Pandora went to a chakra balancing person and, and all the plagues of mankind came out. Now, and don't get me wrong, I teach and I do, chakra balancing. That's cool. But I'm just aware that you're only balancing certain levels. And what you're doing chakra balancing, if you're really adept at this, you're partly bringing out some stuff. But it's good that they don't know how to completely crack it open. And remember, who's worthy? Only the Christ, Revelation tells you, is worthy to open the seals. But a chakra balancer can work with the Christ frequency and do that. Okay? I'm not saying healers can't do this, but when they work with the Christ frequency. If you got somebody that says, I'm a third generation chakra balancer, man, I'm great. Do you work with the Christ frequency? Who the hell needs that? I'm great. Don't. Just get up and leave. Okay? Just leave. Choose the best of everything in your life. Choose holy relationships, not just relationships. Choose sacred in everything. And realize that God itself is saying, listen, sweetheart, I'm going to kind of stash away some money, like a good parent, some money for you. So that when you're really ready to move out, you'll have some ready for you. Buy a car or whatever. So God's saying, I have your identity held aside for you. You think you have an idea of who you are. This is so beyond your comprehension that it would blow your mind if you could access it. Could you imagine that? You can't even handle remembering being a god goddess, let alone God, the divine. So there's a lot more in us than meets the eye. These seals, I won't go into too much detail because I don't want people out there going, I got to experiment and start looking for seals. But I will tell you this, they're like mandalas, sealed over chakras, just as an example. You have microscopic seals. There's one over the DNA. They can't be seen, but there are little microscopic seals over the DNA to keep people from being able to crack the codes completely. Cities, nations, cultures, races, they too have a collective seal, which isn't microscopic. It's like a frequency, a sacred geometric frequency in their being. You have seals that are involved with your soul's purpose. Seals are often, and more often than not, they are time released. So this is what's going to happen in this world, and it's coming soon. But the seals are being opened because revelation has begun. Plagues are being released. That's not nice news, but it is if you know that after those blow out comes your real self. Ask the Divine Mother to help you in this process. Don't hire Michael or Joe Blow to do your seal opening ceremonies. It's going to happen when you become a nicer person. The more loving, forgiving, and evolving you are, the seals it's all in God's hands. They start opening. But what we're now hearing and knowing is sealed up until the end days. Now, if that's true, and I assure you it is, if you're sealed up and we're sealed up till the end of time, I wonder what's going to happen since this is the end days, beginning of the end days. I wonder what's going to happen if these seals now are going to start opening. Well, have you not attended anything I've taught? I mean, what's going to happen is the stuff that's happening. And more. Woohoo! Even more. Because what we are not has to come out and be released. Now here's what you can do, though, if you'd rather not go that way. If you'd rather not have an awakening for the planet, just keep trying to pack it down. Just keep trying to pretend none of this is happening. Denial, it works wonders. But there is a point. The waters are going to be rising and rising and rising. And you'll try to stuff it, hide it, minimize it, deny it for so long. But there's a point where you just can't hold it in anymore. Usually it's when the water reaches your lower lip. Okay? Then you're going to decide to say something. But all of humanity's walking around with these seals, and there are these beings that are working in and around even the most wicked human being, in and around them, starting to crack open the seals to release what we are not. That's happening globally. You don't know that. You watch the news. They don't go, 7th seal's now to open. You know, a 3rd seal has just been, Pasadena, we just heard a 2nd seal is. That's not happening. People aren't aware of this. But we are, because we're talking about it now. The seals are being opened. But as the seal gets popped on one chakra or another, first cracked open, a little bit of this coming out, a little bit more, and then eventually, poof, it's open, and here it comes. More and more, and then it's just around the world, everybody's experiencing it because there is a divine intelligence that's saying, I am the Lamb, I am the Christ, and I am you, and you are me. We are already in collective agreement to let go of what we are not. So, strap in and hold on, because here comes what we're not. Breaking news, all this stuff you hear going on in the news. Why act shocked? Just go and watch it and go, hey, honey, come and check out what we're not. Just see it from a different perspective. The great news is after the ego has popped it and started shooting these things out, trying to get you to react to it, trying to get you to become afraid of it. Because when you do that, it collects all the fears and reactions and judgments, packs them in, bottle caps it, and you got another seal of a negative nature. Another ego seal. Or, no reaction, get into that Buddhist self-center, no reaction. It clears. Then the Christ in us each awakens under what was under that, the real self. Oh my God, isn't this cool? And all those seals, all those 7 seals, there's a quote in Revelation, and the 7th seal was opened, and there was a silence for the period of half an hour. Things like that, it'll say. What that's describing is, poof, when there's no more personal identity, and there's a silence means, I have no opinions. I'm in this stillness. I don't have opinions, I don't have judgments, I'm just being for a moment. Now after that, there's still more to come. But ultimately, after the 7 seals are blasted, the negative, ego seals are open, come the divine seals, the soul level seals, and then after that, the ultimate seal is to remember who we are. Well, why don't we just bring that on? God says, because it would scare you. I love you too much. What are you talking about, God? Aren't you God? You should know. We want it. Bring it on. No, you said that last week about a job you don't like. Do you know how many marriages you've had? God says, you keep saying, no, this one's for sure, God. Bring them on. I want this one for sure. And a week later, you're like, Lord, please take them away. So God's going, hey, don't even try that. I know you say you want your complete remembrance. But first, you have to unremember. You have to empty your cup. And then come these other memories. Now, if you happen to be already noticing memory, cellular memory, it's because seals are being opened. If you notice dark nights of the soul, seals are being opened. Things that are dramatic, energetic, emotional, and seemingly beyond reasonable amount of what you would have assumed. These are supernatural symptoms of something very supernatural happening. So you might say, how is it? I'm not into any of this, let's say. And you're sitting and you're watching from wherever, Madagascar, and you're going, I've never, heard this kind of stuff. Let me sit down. You sit down and watch. You can't be hearing this and not be prepared on some level. You could say, this is my first day ever of tuning into anything spiritual. You can't be doing that by accident. And if this talk annoys you, this guy, who the heck does he think he is, we get this. People will post Who's the guy with long hair? Who does he think he is? Long hair. Wow. If you can't get over long hair, you have more seals than I can even describe. Like, you know, you have much bigger issues. Okay. So, 2 words: bottomless pit. Okay. Like that stuff's coming from a really dark place. Look at it. So, it's just weird stuff. They're triggers. What they're doing is convenient sidetracking. Why? Because they don't want to go to realness. It's too scary. Okay, fine. Forgive them. They know not what they do, or they have amnesia. But if you're watching this and you know that lately you've had something happen, or yesterday, or last year, these cosmic experiences, whether it's colors you hadn't seen before, or feelings, memories, paradise from the past or paradise to come. That's not an accident. Something is being loosened and a little bit's coming out. And we go, oh my God. And this is amazing. Because I've had this happen where, it starts opening and poof, all of a sudden, it could be a memory or it could be a future plan, an etheric holy Jerusalem descending from the sky as is described in Revelation. A new Jerusalem coming down for people to live at peace for a period of time before completely absorbing back into the one God, the one love. So, in a sense, these seals, you can't know anything of this cellular thing called a body. The body, this thing, doesn't step up here and do a talk or step up here and play music. This thing. It's parts of us coming out, especially if that's the intention we set. What part would you like to come out? The dark bits in those, under those seals, or the higher self? So we set the intention and we become better people and we practice more love and forgiveness, and the seals are loosened, and Lemuria and paradise and all these wonderful things. What's really challenging is when you live in a world and some of those seals, God seals, soul seals, are being opened, and you're like, wow, and everybody else is still trying to pack down their ego seals. Try and have a conversation with those people. Isn't life wonderful? Not at all. It's like completely contrasted. Like, we're probably not on the same page. No, we're not. Not even the same book, not the same library, That's the kind of stuff you're going to get from them. Stop, back away. Because you're starting to have visions of something buried beyond human memory. Beyond human. Your soul will remember, but the human will not remember. And this is so amazing to me because I think, it almost feels sad that God, the logical thing, sad that God would store away your memory of who you are. But it isn't sad at all. Because God's saying it's only sealed away to protect it from you, the ego you. If you would have let your ego grab hold of your identity, it would have been gone by now. You would have spent it in some, metaphor, all right? It would have been gone. God saved it because we would have allowed our ego to shred it. So I'm very grateful, I being any of us, I'm very grateful, God, that you have stored my ultimate self. Now, I am, however, going to be courageous enough to ask my divine mother, the Holy Spirit of God, the Christ, too. I am willing now to be courageous enough to ask them, go ahead and begin soul surgeries on me and help me to awaken these memories. And with that comes moments of spontaneous, first of all, you could have visions of it happening. But with it comes spontaneous memories like your purpose, your destiny. See, those things aren't remembered intellectually. And if they are, then they're not your ultimate destiny. Because destiny and intellect don't go hand in hand. Your ultimate destiny is a heart-centered thing, not a brain-centered thing. So it's like, wow, I feel a sense of purpose. Something's happening. Now, if you go, but where is it? What is it? I want it now. Too much for you, apparently. See, so it seals again. No, I'm ready, And humans love that. I'm ready, Lord. I told God the other day, I did a prayer and said, God, bring it on, man. Bring on all my stuff. Open all the seals at once. Yeah, let her rip. Be careful what you pray for. Be careful what you pray for. You don't know what you're asking. You don't know and even when some of us are asking for something wonderful, guess what? If between you and wonderful are old patterns and negative belief systems that have to come out first, when those start surfacing, you're going to get all upset and react anyway. So sometimes it's for your safety to not even bother trying to help you yet. It's like, let's just let them spend 5 more lifetimes slowly combing out the tangles of that middle one so they can get this one. Because humans are so fickle that way. Bring it on, Lord. Stop! It's just too much. So we breathe. We recognize I'm in the hands of God. And I'm aware, if you are aware of any of these symptoms, it's pretty amazing. These mandalas, these soul seals, seals are the same whether they're ego seals or God seals, they're still seals. But these seals, good or ill, they both have a couple of similar things. One of them is that they're generally seen, experienced, felt like as a disc. And I'm not going to get into too much detail about it. Like I said, I don't want people looking for them. But they're like a disc, but it's like a mandala, like a soul stamp. Okay? Like the way a family might have their brand or their seal. It's like that. So there's this seal. And there's micro sacred geometry on these things. Some of you who know Reiki, you'll know about discs, seals. That's a different kind of a form of seal. Or symbols too. On these seals, it's almost like there are numerous locks that have to be turned. Left, right, left, And because it's a combination to the door. When Jesus told the apostles, I am giving you the keys to the universe, you know what he was really saying? I'm giving you the ability to unlock the ego seals and to unlock the God seals. That's what he was saying. So he was anointing them, initiating them into this technique, this means of unlocking this stuff. But he couldn't have given that to them if they hadn't done some of the work themselves. Because it would have been giving somebody that's completely incompetent in their understanding of that. And it's overwhelming. There are buildings that have seals. People from groups, certain kinds of groups, whether it's pagan or Freemason or whatever, they do ceremony to seal buildings, stamp them as though sealed in God or sealed in intention or whatever it happens to be. But it's like numerous combinations. However, there's like these people that are, even the Great Pyramid is sealed. And you get these dweebs on TV who have all these credentials saying, we're going to open the... You're not opening anything. Why do you keep thinking you're going to open it? Because we have degrees. These seals, in the seals, there's paperwork that says never an academic. Never an intellectual. Never. Get a microscope, look at the seals. You'll see the word never flashing at you to say, go away. Because the seals are sealed until it's time. Edgar Casey was asked, when will they open the Hall of Records stored under the Great Pyramid that tell you about all these bizarre things that Michael and other people teach about, like Lemurian Atlantis and so on, ancient civilizations and aliens. It's all there. But they're saying, we're getting closer. We're finding new... And then they say our sensitive equipment shows that there's a new room. Great. They come back with the equipment the next day and the room's not there. Because the seals, it's true, this is happening. And there's seals in your body and in these buildings that when somebody even gets close and finds one number clicking into place, it's designed that all of them change again. So now they can't find the same rooms that they found yesterday. And that's because you're not ready. So when Casey was asked he says, when the time is right, when people's consciousness is ready. Just because there's a few of us in programs like this, sure, it's hundreds or thousands. That's nothing compared to 8 billion. We need a collective, we need a mass number of people being, not saying, being in a state of consciousness of readiness. Then seals on the Great Pyramid break and doorways start to open. They're not blasted, and they're not drilled nor used with high sensitive equipment from some college that's, funding some exploration. This is consciousness. So when will people be ready? Well, to me this is ironic. The day they finally open it is also the day you don't need it. Because you already know these things. The Great Pyramid is made of quartz. Quartz is a cellular structure that holds memory. That means the entire pyramid is a memory of everything that's ever been. The building itself, the structure, it's this thing that's just, just vibrating, holding memory. And they're like chiseling, trying to, where's that memory? Where's that thing? They're linear brains looking for linear things. And there's a consciousness in the building that's got, let's freak them out. There's a room. Hey, everybody, look, we're another $1 million money we're going to raise to go find that room. And it goes away. Just messes with them. Because these seals have an intelligence. So it's very interesting to me because, I've experienced several times the seals being opened. And it's a pretty incredible thing. Because even as these dials are being altered and changed and, brought into opening position, it's not like you're just waiting for the opening. As the dials are being turned, they're being turned because your consciousness is already heading in that direction. And so I sit there, I don't wait for the vault door. I'm like, whoa, oh my, wow, as each of these is being turned, because they are a turn on. No, they are being turned because you're being turned on in consciousness. So it can get quite extraordinary if you think about it. And it plays into the sealed up, till the end times in the Bible code. It's in Revelation. It's in the New Testament. It's in the Old Testament. The Old Testament referring to you are sealed by God. What that means is your ultimate identity was hidden from you in a way. Like a good parent saying, honey, you inherited a $1 million and you're 17. We're going to hide that money because, it's your birthday tomorrow and you're going to be tempted to go and spend it. Prodigal son story as well. So we're going to seal your identity. Old Testament's confirming that for sure. The New Testament puts a little more personable and accessible concepts to it, such as you are sealed up in the name of Christ. And that doesn't just mean Jesus. You're sealed up because you are the Christ. And that cannot be changed. So the Christ in you is sealed until when? Until you awaken the inner Christ, which will happen in little to the right, little to the left. What was that? A little bit of feeling of destiny. Have you ever heard the phrase, your fate has been sealed? Right. Because your destiny is sealed. You might have a job that you think is your destiny, and it might or might not be. But it's sealed. Your fate has been sealed. Your destiny, your ultimate seal, yes, but also sub-level seals. Unfortunately, there's an ultimate ego seal, keeping your identity away, and sub-levels of seals from the ego that are temporary false images of yourself. So, how do you open the seals? Well, you go to Sedona, there's this building, there's this center where they seal openers, 12-step from having seals or whatever, whatever program or thing. If you find those, don't go in. Because only the Christ and the Divine Mother are your healers when it comes to this. And by the way, there's no charge. As soon as they start charging for it, no. Okay? And I'm not cursing, again, healers and that, not at all. I'm saying this is another level, and the good news is it's free, but let's remember, it's the Divine Mother, it's the Holy Spirit of God that does this work for us. We participate by becoming more and more healed or evolved people. The ego does not want your sub-levels of positive seals, soul level seals open, because they involve healing its sublevels. You could say that the minor seals are in a way booby traps to keep you from ever accessing the ultimate seal of the ego, which is blinding you to who you are. So as you approach that, it's going to go, hey, look over here. You have issues here. Boo! It's going to try all kinds of things to distract you from going to that place. You tell me that I am flawed, because that's the main two principles for the ego that allow it to have control over us. Either one or A, depending on how you want to look at it. First, you're a flawed being. Okay? So that you start opening seals, it's not going to go well. And then you start opening them, and there's this creature thing, and it says, I told you, put the lids back on them and stay numb. Who's going to have the wherewithal to say, you know what? I'm just going to push through anyway. I'm just going to push through. Go ahead. Boo, creatures, whatever. I am as God created me. Boo, I am as God created me. Boo, loss, death, pandemics, or whatever. This will not change who we are. And you keep your focus. Is that easy? Heck no. Not at all. There'll be bells ringing to remind you that change is coming. Do not, just keep going, keep going. Do not be intimidated by the ego in any form, whether it's global stuff or personal issues. Now, it's easy to say, oh, money, pod me, and then somebody betrays you. Oh, right through the heart, man. I thought you were my soulmate forever, and instead, they were just one of the creatures in one of the seals being opened. Say goodbye. Let it go. Keep going. Well, I can't live if living is without them. That's not true. Stop singing that song. It's like, stop. Just keep going. Keep going. Your destiny is sure. So picture this. You're going to go through minor seals, ego. Ego, minor seals, through those, and you find this one, the deepest, darkest abyss form of, amnesia. And under that, wow, think about it. My fate, my destiny, my everything, my consciousness. This is our destiny to get to that place. Every soul is going to get there. Either the easy way or the hard way. You will not get there if you remain afraid of what the negative seals bring up. That's the simple math of it right there. But the ego uses two main programs to keep us from getting there. One, you are flawed. If you don't believe me, I'll open one of the seals and show you. And it usually wins the argument. See, watch. You are flawed. See? Oh my God, I forgot that I did that. I'm so naughty. And if you even clear this lifetime, it says, don't even get me going past lives. Look. Psych, look, hey, look at that. It's not going to go well. Oh, because none of us are happy about horrible things that were done to us or done to others by us. That doesn't feel good. So it knows that, and it'll use that. Christ is saying, God is saying, let me stand with you as the videos go by. When you stand with me, are you going to devour me? Because I got some stuff footage coming up that's wow. You have wow, like some wow. And God's like, don't believe in what you see, just watch it. But remember not to believe in what you see. Okay, and then there's, that one, wow, breathe, breathe, breathe. Oh, there's another one, breathe, breathe, breathe. This is happening in services like this, meditations, healings you're doing, vision questing, all that stuff. When you see stuff rising, see it and keep going. You see it dispassionately. You see it objectively, and you keep going. And there's going to be a very obvious reward for having passed your tests. And the reward isn't God going, hey, everybody, look what little Michael did. We have some parting gifts for you, Michael. Look at you. It's not like that. It's when you're peeling off what you're not, finding what you are, that is a gift. So all of a sudden, wow, I earned my destiny. No, it was always there. You just had stuff in the way. And you breathe courageously and push through. So the ego is saying, I'm counting on two things. One, you are flawed. And that's going to keep you from wanting to look. However, if you push it and say, you know what? I don't know if I agree with that anymore. I'm ending that pattern. I'm not flawed. There's this book, there's this scripture, there's A Course in Miracles, there's this Michael Mirdad guy. and whatever. And they say that we're made in God's image. You know what the ego's going to do? You're right. You're right. You got me. You were made in God's image, and then you became flawed. That's what it does. You were doing really well for about a day and a half, and then you became a sinner. That's what it'll do. You're either flawed or you started out okay and ended up flawed. That's what it'll do. And if you start believing this one, great, it's going to get you there. But if you say, no, I want to go in this other one, it'll get you and it'll turn it back to that anyway. The ultimate point is you believe you are or not flawed. You believe you are or not a child of God, a holy child of God. If you use your head, your brain, your memory to try to remember being a child of God, you'll only get so far with it. If I were you, I would say I would like God to show me. I would like my divine self to show me that I'm divine. I don't want my intellect. I wonder what it's like. If I am divine, I bet I wouldn't have wrinkles. And you start using your head. And all that's going to do is give you another human opinion. You know what? I don't know. Start that. I have no idea what divinity looks like, which sounds totally deflating. It's only deflating to your ego. When you say, I don't know, you're halfway home. Because when you say, I don't know, you're going to end up saying, but I know who does. And the ego will go, me. No. Step aside. I know who does. God, I'm asking you to show me who I really am. Seals are open and you're like, I don't even notice. I'm just blissing out so much. Creatures, whatever. To the side. Memories of your ex, to the side. Past lives, to the side. Oh, I was a warrior and killed people on the battlefield. Don't care, move aside. God. And then the positive seals are opening. Boom. Now the saddlebags on your warrior horse are filled with prosperity and gifts that you need. Now your healing abilities go to another level. Destiny, soul's purpose, soulmates. It's wonderful. And then, of course, ultimately, boom, who I am. When you do the who I am, it's like winning a psychological lottery. When you win the lottery, you don't go, I can't believe I still have to pay that $10 bill. You don't care. You're like, who cares? You want cash or check or what? Because you're a billionaire. When you have that ultimate seal and memory back to God, there are no issues that can oppress you. Which is why today, even as we live and breathe today, we affirm that already, that nothing has power over you. We're not hoping it doesn't. We're factually saying you are a holy child of God. It's impossible for you to be sick. It's impossible for you to be betrayed or left by another. It was just time. They're gone. How are you doing? I'm hurt. Push through the hurt. It's one of your symptoms of one of your seals cracking open. Make the hurt have too much power, you're packing an issue in under the seal and giving it more volume. Then you're going to have to deal with it later anyway. Cry, scream, cry, and then come back to who you really are and recognize nobody has power. Nothing has power over you. Not hopefully not. It can't, because nothing else exists but God, and that's what we are. I think I'm done. Let me check in. Please take a few centering breaths. Setting aside all stuff of the world. I do not know my own best interests. I don't even want to try to believe that I know how to heal all my own stuff. I don't need to. That would be arrogance. I'm going to choose instead just to surrender to the healer of healers, God. So we begin in a state of surrender. I know nothing. But God does. And I'm made in the image of God. I have the right to call upon this memory, the ultimate knowing. Seals are most commonly opened with the power of God, but facilitated with prayer, sound, and light. Sound can break up old seals and patterns. Let's trust in the channeling through John to facilitate the right sounds for our seals. Calling upon you, divine Father, Mother, God. We are the living Christ on earth. We are your holy children. We're here to acknowledge and affirm that we are ready to be made ready for that which we are not, to peel away to a new level. And that which we are, to be restored to a new level. Only the pure light of God can use light that actually works to heal us in the level of our seals. Only the pure word, voice, sound, music of God can have this effect. We choose to gently release what we are not, so it doesn't have to become wicked things that are peeled from us. A deep breath in acknowledging all the seals made from the ego, sound that breathes them out. Yeah. Again, one more breath with that. Awareness of the ego seals, sound them out. Emptiness, stillness. And the Holy Spirit starts to fill the empty space with memory of who we are. The seals of light begin to open. at whatever capacity is decided by our guide, our healer, God. Restoration comes, the peace of God comes, the presence of the Christ comes, the Holy Shekinah. Oh, it's so beautiful. Breathe into the awareness of it and how beautiful it is. How beautiful God is, but it's us too. Deep inside, I am as God created me. And I choose to be the Christ on earth. It's gentle, it's loving. Breathe into it, be aware of it. A big breath and a sound. Worldwide and through the cosmos. Again, into it. Yes. And one more time, but a longer lasting sound as a tone. So it is. No resistance to love. No resistance to Eden and paradise. No resistance to healing and being healed. Slowly come back. John might or might not continue playing under what we're doing, but together. Love, 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 love. The gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, holy love. Guys, it's holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Louder. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy love. Everybody. Love, 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 love. Right. Holy, holy, holy. Males. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Keep going. Holy, holy, holy. affirm it to the universe, all God's children. Love, holy love. One more time, everybody. Holy, 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 holy. Right. Holy, 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 holy love. Thank you. Peace be with you. Thank you. Soak it in. Soak in the sound. The intention of the sound. A musician can just play or they can channel. Right? Amnesia that it's time to say goodbye to. And the ego makes this all so familiar. The ego kidnaps you like a child being kidnapped, convinces you your parents don't really love you, so that you'll not resist their control. That's often what they do to people. And we're supposed to say, it's just not true. Not only do my parents really love me, they love you too. The kidnapper, you know, love the hell out of them. Right? The presence of love. Ah, good, thank you. I pray this all has worked for you. Centering into gratitude. Deep, deep gratitude for everything. Our brothers and sisters joining us in the Christ Consciousness family. Deep gratitude for a wonderful service and sharing amongst us all. Deep, deep gratitude for John and his channeled sound music experience.
Upcoming concert.
And what's the date?
The 20th.
The 20th. Oh, cool. That's the same day. Same day as Volunteer Day. We have him doing a concert here. He's also got products in the foyer, so check those out. You find him online as well. God bless you, man. Thank you so much for what you brought to us today. And lastly, we thank God and all of God's children that contributed to whatever we experienced today. Even in the highest realms, they're all part of this funnel of light. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.